And good morning, everybody. Right, well, we've been hearing about fires in California, in Canada, Siberia, Brazil. Let's bring on Dane Wigington and find out what's going on. Good morning, Dane.
Yes, on the fires themselves, yes. While we're watching political theater on mainstream TV, we have the planet burning to the ground. In fact, since the first of the year, we've had in Brazilian Amazon, something on the order of 45,000 fires. It's burning to the ground. We have people literally walking across dry, sandy riverbeds. How many know that statistically right now on the trajectory the Amazon is currently following, the Amazon's done. And we have in Southern California, again, fires that once ignited, and regardless of the source of ignition, and that's a separate issue completely, we have firestorms that are completely uncontrollable. And we have agencies that are not telling the truth about what is setting the template for those fires to burn with such ferocity, Polly.
So what are they saying it is? Why are they not telling us? What are they saying that's not the truth?
You have many types of explanations. For example, if we backtrack to some of the previous years in the firestorms here in California, we've had representatives like Ryan Zinke from the Trump administration in this case, and not that any other administration is any different, but basically telling us the way to prevent fires is to just cut the forest down ahead of time, to completely clear cut the forest. We need to cut more trees, they tell us, to keep the fires from burning. So if you eliminate the entire forest, certainly you don't have to worry about a forest fire anymore, do you, at that point? And that's just to promote the logging industry in that sense. We also hear that we haven't let fires burn enough on their own, and that's why they're burning so intense. Also false. Climate engineering setting the template for the fires to burn with such ferocity, Polly, disrupting the hydrological cycle, causing massive stretches of drought here in Northern California, where we might have a 2 to 3 month max period without precipitation. Now it's 6 months. The precipitation that does fall is toxic. We know this because we're testing this precipitation. Contains elements like aluminum, which we know kills soil microbiome, which causes the root systems to shut down nutrient uptake. It also stops decomposition on the forest floor, so this duff material builds up. We have an incendiary dust in the atmosphere, which is the fallout from these operations. Aluminum is such a powerful incendiary, Polly. It's used in demolitions. That's building up on forest foliage and the forest floor. We have more dry lightning because of these electric conductive particles. So again, from every conceivable direction, climate engineering is setting the template for these fires to burn with such ferocity once ignited.
Okay, so what is it man-made are we starting the fires? What's going on? Why are they happening?
Okay, again, regardless of the source of ignition, even if it's a lightning fire, which we would consider a natural ignition source, correct? That's what most people would consider that natural. But is that natural now when we have desiccant electrically conductive particles, and those are patented particles for climate engineering operations, when that is causing more static buildup in the atmosphere and more dry lightning, can we truly consider that a natural source of ignition any longer? And again, whatever the source of ignition is on the ground, even if that's someone with a campfire somewhere, when we have something that has completely altered the composition of the forest and its flammability, and these desiccant particles, again, reducing atmospheric relative humidity, RH, which draws the moisture out of that fuel, which makes it very unnaturally dry, again, on top of the incendiary dust and the buildup of materials in the forest floor which aren't decomposing. None of this is natural. So regardless of the source of ignition, again, we have a very unnatural element in this equation that is causing those forests to burn with incredible ferocity. And we see this from fire officials over and over and over, Polly. They've never seen anything burn like this, burning in every direction all at once. We have fires covering 20, 30 miles of distance in a single day. And so, again, we have this system that is not acknowledging this giant elephant in the equation of climate engineering operations for obvious reasons, liability reasons.
Now we're hearing also outside of fires, rumors, earthquakes and tsunami, even rumors on the East Coast. What is this all part of the engineering, the climate engineering?
An element in this equation that is very difficult for most to wrap their arms around is we have what's known as an ionosphere heater. HARP acronym HAARP in Alaska is one. It's the most powerful, but there are many, many more. And that what you're seeing there, that's a weapon of mass destruction. And it can transmit 3.6 million watts of power into the electrically charged ionosphere, causing an electrical chain reaction, which superheats that layer of the atmosphere for a very extensive area. That causes the atmosphere to bulge up and down. The downward push of that bulge creates a high pressure heat dome. And Polly, we hear this all the time now from the meteorological community, which are simply reading scripts at this point. And we know they're reading scripts because we know that Raytheon, who holds the patent for that facility that you just showed, and Lockheed Martin, they do all the weather modeling for the nation's weathermen, National Weather Service and National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Why would we have private defense contractors doing the weather modeling for the nation's weathermen unless there's a factor in this equation that we're not being told about? And both those agencies, by the way, have an illegal federal gag order on them. So we're not getting the truth from any direction. And this manipulation of the atmosphere, which we know there's global cooperation on, by the way, as well, because you can't engineer the climate over your country without affecting the entire world. And we have documents at geoengineeringwatch.org. We're the largest website in the world in this subject, non-political, no commercials. And we have documents up to 800 pages long, Senate documents, U.S. Senate documents, specifically outlining the global cooperation with these programs, even among otherwise adversarial nations, Polly, China, Russia, U.S.
Okay, everyone, geoengineeringwatch.org. How much danger are we in? And it's imperative that you all follow this, your organization, but tell us how much danger we're in. People just don't seem to realize it, do they? They're not reporting on it.
They don't. And this includes most of alt media not reporting on this. We cannot hide from what's happening in our skies. And not only is this fallout and this frequency transmission manipulation completely derailing the planet's life support systems, all of this fallout is highly toxic. These are nanoparticles, which are inconceivably small. You can fit 100,000 nanoparticles across the width of a single human hair. So because of their inconceivably small size, they're extremely bioavailable and bioaccumulative. And we're talking about particles like aluminum, barium, strontium, manganese, polymer fibers, graphene. And what's even more alarming, Polly, two of these elements, polymer fibers and graphene, we know are used militarily as biological carrier platforms for biological warfare. That means they can carry a pathogen from the clouds to the ground. Why is that in our rain? And we have synergistic toxicity as well. So in the case of aluminum and mercury, we all have mercury in us from amalgam fillings, from coal-fired power plants. We all have trace levels of mercury in us. Now we have aluminum. Every person we've tested at geoengineeringwatch.org, hair, blood, urine, has aluminum. So when you combine those two metals, we have peer-reviewed study to prove you get synergistic toxicity, which means even though each element is highly toxic in and of itself, the combination of the two increases the overall toxicity as much as 10,000%, 100 times worse. This is a truly lethal mix that we're exposed to with every breath we take, in addition to what it's doing to the forests, again, disrupting the hydrological cycle. This is absolute all-out weather and biological warfare, nothing less.
Dane, thank you for sounding the alarm on this, and please do keep coming on and educating us on this. And everybody will go over to geoengineeringwatch.org. Dane, thank you so much.
Thank you, Polly.